I'm Trevor McMillan. I stand here both as chair of Network Staffordshire, which was the sort of forming body, if you like, of the branding exercise that we did for Staffordshire, but also obviously as the Vice Chancellor of Keele University. And as I say, it's a pleasure to welcome you here. Clearly, we've got a very important theme today around sustainability, and it is something that we will hear a lot about. And the real power of these events that we hold around Staffordshire is around the idea that you can hear about new initiatives, you can hear about new developments, you can hear about things that are going on around you within Staffordshire, and you can hear them from the people that are really making it happen. So hopefully we can carry that through. We've got some fantastic speakers that I'll come to in just a second. But the idea is also that actually it allows you to see those people that you can subsequently make links to. And the people in the room, there's an obvious means of doing that. But also for those online, I would encourage you to go to the We Are Staffordshire website to actually see those links. There's a new website there in the last few days. I'm sure Louisa will talk a little bit about that. As I said, I'm delighted to be joined by a series of different speakers who will give us different dimensions of the sustainability agenda within Staffordshire. The first will be Louisa Grocott, who is the Place Brand Manager, and she will talk to you about We Are Staffordshire. We've got Ash Hume and we've got Julian Reid, who are part of the Keele University team that has been working on a project called SEND, which you'll hear about, but also importantly, more broadly around our engineering and how we can make that sustainable on campus. We'll then hear from Josie Morris MBE, Managing Director of Woolcool, and we'll hear from Chris Langdon, who's the Development Director at Engie. After all the speakers have spoken, we will bring them to the front to take questions. So for those of you in the room, again, there is the old-fashioned way of putting your hand up if you have any questions. But for those of you who are online, there will be a mechanism. If you feed them in, then hopefully we'll be able to get that fed through to the panel at the end. But more about that a little bit later. So for now, can I hand over to Louisa, who will update you on where we are with the We Are Staffordshire campaign. Louisa.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. It's really great to finally see you all in person after many months of presenting and talking to you all through screens. A huge part of what we try and do here with We Are Staffordshire is to connect businesses and individuals together, and I'm sure you'll all appreciate the challenge that has been trying to do it all virtually, where the networking piece, which is central, is restricted on Zoom screens. Thank you very much for joining us here today. We Are Staffordshire and all of your roles as hopeful ambassadors for Staffordshire is responsible for banging the drum for our county. Today's event is being recorded. It is also live, so hello to you who are joining us via Zoom. But the recording will be distributed after the event. And whilst you do have your phones and tablets to hand, and I guess this is the point where we remember to tell people to please turn them on silent. And it's a while since I've said that as well. But please do have your phones and tablets to hand and jump on social media to show your support using the hashtag We Are Staffordshire and/or Our Staffordshire Story. To give you a reminder of our journey so far, the consensus among business leaders was that Staffordshire was punching below its weight. We've got a fantastic county with treasures at every turn, but perhaps we don't always speak about that enough and hide our light under a bushel. This approach, therefore, brought business leaders, public sector organisations, charities together to look at what makes Staffordshire distinct and special, and tied all of that together in what ultimately became the Staffordshire Story. So the Staffordshire Story is split into a number of key themes that speak to all of the treasures that we have here in the county. That's from cherishing our natural livability as a place to live and the quality of life that we offer the people who choose to call Staffordshire home. There is also working in Staffordshire, so inspiring and applying our ingenuity. And there is finally active, adventurous and fun, which speaks to our tourism and visitor economy offer here. Staffordshire Story really sits at the heart of what we're trying to do. So through these ambassador events that take place bi-monthly, we're looking to showcase all of those attractions, all of those businesses and developments that you may not already be aware of, so that it gives you the information as our sales force of Staffordshire to go out and sell the Staffordshire Story with us. So as our ambassadors, we're asking you, when you have your own business engagements and meetings, to really talk about what you love about Staffordshire, whether it's your home, whether it's your place in which your business is located, or somewhere that you want to visit come the weekend. So in terms of where we move forward from here, over the last few months, we have launched a Staffordshire, We Are Staffordshire website. That is the place to find out about all of our events and our engagements. You can also follow our social media channels, which we're posting to daily. But I'm really pleased and proud to say, as of yesterday, we launched the second phase of our work in this area, which is the Ambassador Portal. Now, that is a platform where you can register to be an ambassador. It is completely free. We're not asking you to sign up to 10 hours of your time a week, but what we are asking is for you to be proud. For you to be proud of the place in which you live, work and visit in whichever order, and really put Staffordshire at the heart of your conversations in business and in your personal lives as well. The portal has an online store, so that if you have, for example, a foyer in your business area and you want to put up a roller banner like the one we have here today, you can order those, get them printed and delivered to your work addresses. There are the Staffordshire Story copies of that you can download. There are also presentation packs that speak to the whole Staffordshire Story, but also that live, work, visit offer, so that if you had a niche business audience and you were looking to push a particular agenda, those packs are there, they're ready-made, they're full of beautiful imagery that we've had taken and our vibrant new brand, and you can download and use those wherever you see fit. So really, through the Ambassador Network, we're asking for you to come together to play a part and create relationships. And I'm really hopeful that after the presentation section today, you will have the time to do just that, to grab a drink and really connect with each other after 18 months of trying to do that from home. To act as a sales force for Staffordshire and really utilise that portal and our website to help bang the drum for our area. I'm hoping as you're all here today, you're really passionate about Staffordshire, as clearly I am, and that you will join me in putting our county even more on the map. Thank you.
Thanks, Louisa, and I would encourage you all to try and get to that website as soon as you can. I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes giving a little bit more of the background to the issues that we're discussing, partly from a Keele perspective, but partly more broadly. Many of you will have seen that the latest report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the IPCC, that came out just in August, reconfirms their unequivocal view that human influence has indeed warmed the planet, and that it is affecting weather patterns and certainly weather extremes right across the globe. Within a university, it's interesting to think that global temperatures will rise by 1.5 to 2 degrees within the lifetime of our students, unless there's a concerted global effort to do something about it. Now, I'm not an expert on climate change. I stand here as a concerned citizen, but also as someone who is head of an organisation that takes this problem very seriously indeed. We believe we can make a difference through the research we do, through the skills, knowledge and attitudes that we develop in our students, by working with partners and by doing what we can within our own day-to-day activities to really make sure that we have as little impact on the climate as possible. And it's not easy. We all make choices in life and we all have critical business activities that are essential to the running of our organisations. The pandemic has pushed us into less sustainable practices in some cases. We've probably all used more disposable cups than we did before. We've probably all used home deliveries more than we did before. We've travelled less, but we've all been at home with the heating on. And there are conflicts. As a bit of a silly example, as part of our drive for energy efficiency here on campus, my office has a fancy gizmo that if I open the window, then the heating shuts off. Now, that's great for energy, but what does that mean for me during the time of COVID, when I might want to open the window during the winter in order to increase the ventilation? I guess it's jumpers for Christmas for me this year. But we can all play our part, and there are some significant business opportunities out there as well that are important. And I do hope that today's sessions fuels your passion for the subject, gives you some contacts if you haven't got them already, and also ways in which we can help you address some of your issues. I'm certainly very proud of what we do here at Keele. I'm proud of our staff and our students who deliver it, and I'm proud of the external acknowledgements that we have achieved on the back of this, whether that be what David Attenborough had to say about our approach when he was onto campus a couple of years ago, or the fact that this year we won both the UK and the Global Sustainability University of the Year. You'll hear about how we've worked with partners to use our knowledge and skills, and how we've used our campus to set up our campus as a demonstrator site to test new approaches to energy generation and usage. This is the first and potentially the largest of such facilities in Europe. And for example, we worked with Siemens, who put in some of the infrastructure, and with Cadent and others around the High Deploy project. That is a project where just last week in the House of Commons, we launched the final report of a test of mixing 20% hydrogen into the gas supply. And it's worked so well that it's already working in a community in the Northeast. Another example is the low carbon energy generation park. And you'll hear about that a bit more from Chris from Engie. 12,500 solar panels, literally as of this week, are connected to the grid and are generating. And wind turbines are, again, literally being erected as we sit here now, just half a mile away from this lecture theatre. And together they should produce over 50% of the university's electricity supply. As I said, I'm immensely proud of what our staff, students and partners are doing, but I also hope that you are proud as well of these things. These are not just Keele University projects. They are Newcastle-under-Lyme projects, and they are Staffordshire projects. And I hope you can all adopt some ownership of those projects as well. You'll hear a bit more about the campus work, but you'll also hear today how businesses in Staffordshire are responding. And there are many organisations that we could have profiled. And let's be honest, every part of the country is currently claiming to be leading the path to net zero. And we could just throw up our arms and say, let them get on with it. But we do have some real standout strengths in Staffordshire. And there is a lot to play for, both for our individual organisations and for the planet. So as Staffordshire ambassadors, I do hope that you're pleased with what you will hear about today and what's already happening, and really be ready to be part of the future of sustainability in Staffordshire. And at that time, I'm going to hand over to Ash Hume, who's going to start some of the Keele story around what we've been doing here on campus. Ash.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Well, humans in 3D, amazing. Let's see where we are on the, there we go. Okay, my name's Ash Hume. I'm the head of engineering at Keele University. I work within the Estates and Development Directorate. And one of my roles is the lead designer on the Keele University Smart Energy Network Demonstrator, amongst many others. So the Keele University, the Smart Energy Network Demonstrator, so what is a smart energy network? A smart energy network is an intelligent software system that controls the assets within a particular energy vector. So it could be it controls the gas, it controls the electricity. What we spotted a problem with that is that they're all very, very isolated, the networks are. So what we're trying to do at Keele is to make this a cross-vector solution, so that we don't just use electricity for electrical appliances. We use it for other things. We use it for heating, We use it for hydrogen generation and the HydroFlow project that Trevor mentioned there. Unfortunately, this is a extremely technical project, and I've only got about 5 minutes today. But what I will be is I will be outside, and this is normally an hour and a half presentation, so you're very, very lucky. This is a condensed version. I will be in the foyer outside afterwards to answer any questions and have a chat. But it's a, you know, it's a £50 million programme over the 5 years that it's been running, and the key part of it, I think, is the 4,000 tonnes of CO2 each year that it will save. That's about a third of our campus CO2 emissions. Obviously, there's other initiatives being put into place to save the rest of those emissions. But this is certainly a huge step in the right direction. And as Trevor says, it started generating this week. Just an hour ago, I logged onto the portal, and it's currently, because we've got quite low demand at the moment, generating 3/4 of our overall campus demand. So it's in a, you know, it's running, and it's running well. So I'm really quite proud of that, because that was also another one of my projects. So the two parts I'm going to talk to you about, really, well, the main part is the capital project. And that was the part that we delivered with Siemens as a delivery partner. Julian is going to talk about the SME engagement and the RD&I elements. Okay, so Keele is it's the largest UK university campus, and we now have, because we've got private utility networks on campus, and because we've got to bear on the size and scale of a small town, we now have Europe's largest smart energy network, multi-energy vector smart energy network. There is another one in Canada, but we don't mention that one if we can help it. Okay, so we've got 300 and odd buildings on site, but the important part about that slide, I think, is the gas and electricity. As you can see, electricity, which is already relatively green and has been greened up for quite some time by electricity companies. Our gas is 3 times, so our heating and hot water demand is 3 times our electricity demand. So we have to find a way to be able to green up that heating, and the hydrogen project, the HydroFlow project, went some way towards proving the technologies behind that. Okay, so this is an extremely complicated slide, but the core bit of it, I suppose, is these two elements in the middle here. These are the two software bases, and what these do is make intelligent decisions on the software, the energy that we produce from our low carbon energy generation project is fed into the software, and this then makes intelligent decisions based on the current grid intensity, the current demand of the campus, the current weather, the instantaneous meter readings that we get, and it basically turns appliances on and off in the most carbon efficient way, and uses fuel in the most carbon efficient way that we possibly can. So if the wind's blowing, for example, and it's overnight and we've got a low demand, we may turn on, we may preheat or pre-cool the building dependent on what the weather's going to be doing. We may fire up handling units, air conditioning. We've got electric boilers being installed on campus. We've got around 1.5 megawatts of electric boilers just to be able to utilise this energy in a more productive way. And one thing I did really, really want to do with this, I wanted to make the system scalable. So this could be applied to any individual business, right the way up to any major city, or even nationwide or continentally. So I was really, really keen to make this sort of a fully scalable system, and I also wanted it to be vendor agnostic as well. One thing that Siemens, initially when we started talking to Siemens, they were, let's put a load of Siemens kit in, it will work. And we were like, well, yeah, that's not really the real world though. What we want to actually do is be able to demonstrate how this works in the real world. And the D part of the Demonstrator project, so it's smart energy network, and then the D part of that is actually, it's a test bed as well. So anybody that's developing a new or emerging renewable technology, rather than just modeling these systems, they can actually come and plug it into our live environment, see real-time results, and prove the theories that they've developed in the labs and universities around the country. Okay, so it is a completely anonymous system. It can be run completely anonymously, but because it is a test bed, we've got a couple of operators that sit in our SEM control room, and they work with a lot of researchers and a lot of local businesses. They're the people that sort of enable it, really. They work as part of my team, and they enable all these projects to be completed. As I say, this is very whistle stop. One key part of it is microgrid control, and that's a map of our campus there. What you can see is each area has got its own generation, as well as the large-scale generation that we've got off the campus, down at the bottom side of the campus down here. Each of these areas has got its own energy generation as well. And rather than these areas selling energy back out up here, back out to the grid, they can actually on a virtual trading platform. Now, all of these areas can trade energy with each other. So if there's no students in the Barnes blocks, for example, they're generating more energy than they can use, rather than selling it, they can actually just put this onto a market, sell it to the central academic. Or these two areas here they can join together and sell it to the central academic, or can sell it to these two areas. But this then becomes scalable, because Keele can then sell to Newcastle, or Keele and Newcastle could then sell to Stoke-on-Trent. Staffordshire can sell to Birmingham, you know, and it starts to become very, very easily scalable. And this is one of the things that we're lobbying government for, is a change in the way that energy tariffing is completed, to encourage people to move towards the sort of decentralisation of energy that the Grid 2.0 requires to make it function. I think our next slide. Oh no. Right, so this is just a graphic that's taken from one of our core software systems, which is the decentralised energy optimization. So this is some of the intelligence that sits behind this. It knows exactly what each phone is using. As I say, it knows what we're generating, it knows what the grid carbon intensity is, and it takes these really, really intelligent decisions based on pre-programmed algorithm and machine learning as well. So it will relearn its own algorithms to enable it to operate more efficiently, more functionally. Click on that.
So the Smart Energy Network Demonstrator is an example of how we can use smart energy. There's been lots of studies looking at sort of smaller scale initiatives, but here we can use the whole Keele University campus. So it's innovative because it's at the scale of a small town.
Keele have just signed up to zero carbon in 2030, massive commitment on the campus. So this enables us to control our energy use and the source of our energy on campus, and also measure our carbon input and output.
This project is innovative in the way that we can test new solutions, and the way that we can test it not just about the way that the energy flows or how efficient something is, but also in an environment where we've got people. So it's also important from a social science perspective, where if there's a place where social science and science meet, it's here, kind of in this laboratory where we've got the infrastructure, the buildings, the people that are using the buildings, and the solution, all in a place where we can monitor and measure and see what happens.
And for it to be scaled up and it to be used elsewhere, time and time again, really pushing the boundaries of innovation. That's what's unique about this work with Keele or Siemens, is the fact that it's like a small town. So we really are demonstrating the art of the possible for infrastructure that cares.
I think finding the partnership with Siemens was absolutely crucial to this project. There's absolutely no way we would be able to deliver this at the scope and scale we have delivered this project to. It obviously provides us with something fundamental looking forwards as well, and I think that's where that partnership will really start to grow and extend into multiple areas. We see the potential of Sen Plus, where we're building renewables into this conversation. That provides us with something which is truly unique worldwide, and not just in the UK and Europe. This is a truly innovative project.
Oops. I know that I didn't make it into the video. Perhaps I ramble on a little too much. They've only got a 3-minute video, so. What's the again? Do you want to watch it again, anybody? Okay, so I'll hand over now to my colleague Julian Reed. As I said at the beginning, we are outside in the foyer afterwards, and we really do. I'm passionate about this. I love talking about this, and it's been my life pretty much for the last 6 years. So I can bore you outside if you need to. Julian.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Julian Reed, the Programme Manager for the Smart Energy Network Demonstrator. It's with great privilege that I stand here today and present. for a number of reasons. First of all, it's been excellent to see the technology that's been implemented on the site, developed and implemented, I have to say. I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing businesses. Now, Ash has mentioned some, so was Trevor, Engie, Siemens, and the bigger businesses. But across Staffordshire, we've worked with many businesses. I've also had the opportunity to work with academics and some of our researchers, which have taken on massive challenges, and it's been a real benefit to them. So in terms of what we've achieved so far, we've sent over 250 businesses in Staffordshire have received support from the SEND programme. That's been delivered by 35 researchers, over 7,000 hours of research, 2,600 plus hours of business assistance. That's brought new product and service to some of those businesses, which have then been implemented, and they've started to use those products and services to expand their capacity. One real thing that's really made me from some of this, though, is seeing the advancement of some of the researchers which have been engaged in our programme. We've taken them, I've tried to run projects very much like a private sector commission, and we've given those researchers support from our lead academics to make sure that they've delivered. There we go. So how have we delivered that? So the SEND was split across three main areas. A business assistance side was supported through Stopford Energy Environment, which we've worked extremely closely with. We've delivered a 465-hour research programme, which is 3 months roughly in terms of its delivery from the university. And we've had 3-year programmes which are still running in the background, which have been led by Keele University, and where we've required additional technical support. We have partnerships with other universities, which exist with several other universities at the moment. Okay, so in terms of the business support and the programme that's available to date, the programme SEND was due to complete at the end of 2021. And the timing for that, to be perfectly honest, wasn't brilliant, simply because we've just delivered the infrastructure. It's all in play now. It gives us great opportunity now to say that we've just extended the programme to the end of June 2023. And that also, part of that extension, gives us the opportunity to support another 25 Staffordshire businesses and SMEs from Staffordshire that can come and work with us. It works by us placing a research specialist with the business. We'll have to look at the programme that the business wants to do, and it gives a great opportunity to the business to work with Keele because it gives them the opportunity to develop their sustainability. In terms of all the businesses we work with, I can't fit 250 logos on this page. I did actually think about trying to do some kind of Photoshop image thing while I pulled everybody's logo into a nice image, but my skills aren't that good, to be perfectly honest. So perhaps that's something for our design folk to use. But I'm going to just pull out 2 examples from this, if that's okay. I'm going to use a project which is just about to complete this week. We're just about to give a final report to the business themselves, and that's Affinity Architects, Surveyors and Engineers. These guys are architect team based in Longton. They are the guys that used to be the local authorities' architects, and they set up themselves as a business 3 or 4 years ago. Now, they were asked to deliver a commission to build a fully sustainable building, energy efficient. These guys are professional guys, they know the work, but what they wanted to do is look at a little bit of horizon planning. They wanted to see what was coming, so they came to Keele and said, right guys, we know you're leading in this area. Can you talk to us about what you'd like to see from your developments? So we brought a researcher in, Jake, a really nice guy, recruited to the job. Jake produced a report. The final report's going to the business this week. Development sector question, which comes all the time, so I'm looking at Chris to sort of say that. And what Jake has done is produced a wonderful report. That report will be presented on Friday. Jake, for himself, who came from Sharon George's MSc programme, what I'm really pleased to say is that Jake used his presentation, used the work that he's done as part of this project to enable him to secure a really great job in London working as an environmental consultant. So that's a brilliant output. You can see how the business is benefited. You can see how Jake, as a researcher, has taken on the programme and moved on. Another one, just to pick from, I'm just checking time, I know I've got a couple of minutes, that's all. Midlands Power Networks, an organisation which has worked with us in the implementation and delivery of SEND. A little bit of IP on this, so I can't share all the detail, but Steve Owens, the Managing Director of Midlands Power Networks, asked the university to develop a smart application which he could utilise to enable him to control the systems of the businesses that he worked with. Joseph, our researcher, worked with Steve to deliver that. When the 465 hours are up, we didn't quite finish the job. Steve then re-employed Joseph to complete the job. Joseph now moved on to an excellent job in Manchester. So again, a massive achievement for us. Project done, business happy, researcher into a really good quality job. So just moving on, I'm out of time really, but in terms of a project development, we have to look at strategic fit. And for the STEM programme, it really needs to be a Staffordshire SME, but we'll never say no. And if there's an opportunity to work in a way with other businesses, local authorities, for example, Professor Zoe Robinson is working with Staffordshire local authorities on projects, so there's a route there. There's knowledge transfer, partnerships and other routes. So if we can find a way to work with businesses, we do. So this basically is just a slide to say we do have a process. Coming to us, we'll try and find a way to support businesses where we can. And moving on to Zoe, thank you very much.
Thanks, Julian. Thanks, Ash. As they said, we've got a chance within the room to ask questions, but also those of you who are online, feel free to put questions within the Q&A box. It's now my pleasure to introduce Josie Morris, MBE, who's Managing Director of Woolcool. Josie leads what's a 50-strong team at Woolcool, and a company I'm sure we'll hear a lot of the details around the temperature control packaging that actually is infiltrating all sorts of sectors, including food, pharmaceutical, and healthcare. Josie is very active in the Chamber of Commerce and is an export champion for Midlands Engine, so also wrapped in the region. So it's a great pleasure to invite Josie to tell us about their activities. Josie.
So, cool, just checking out quicker. Okay, so firstly, thanks so much for inviting me to speak today. This is not the best angle in terms of camera angle, so people at home, apologies. But anyway, so I am Josie from Woolcool, and for those who don't know, we produce insulated packaging, but using sheep's wool, hence the Woolcool. Quite difficult to say when you're on the phone, and people always ask you what you're saying. Are you saying wool? Especially with my accent, people don't really know what's a wool or wool. Anyway, so we are based in Staffordshire. I'm Staffordshire born and bred. I was born in Newcastle-under-Lyme at home, so my birth certificate actually says Newcastle-under-Lyme, and I now live in Stoke. And we are established in Staffordshire by my mother. So my mum is a family business. She founded it in 2009, and as I say, we are very proud of our heritage as a design-led company. Staffordshire, which I come to a bit later, is famous for its creativity and innovation, and that's something which we as a company are really passionate about promoting. Not only is Staffordshire creative, it's got such a great heritage when it comes to kind of new ideas coming out, whether that's new things to do with clay, or whether that's new ideas with wool, which isn't so much of a Staffordshire-based material, but it's certainly the innovation behind it. So as I say, we were founded actually in 2009. Angela, who's our founder, started off as a passion consultant and had a business from her early 20s with 4 young girls as her daughters, and a husband who was also like a child apparently. So, so she then, as her career developed, she was working as a passion consultant, and that's where the idea of Woolcool came. And I won't go through that because that story might take an hour and a half. But basically, it was a development through her passion consultancy that then became a business innovation and product. Staffordshire-based innovation. We are proud to be Staffordshire, and as I said, we're a family business. Something that I think shapes our ethos as a business. We're very much team, and kind of our ethos is very much around engagement with our team, with the community, and with the surrounding world. Now, my kind of belief, I don't know if, for those of you who don't know what a B Corp is, but we are B Corp certified, and we're certified in February 2020. And B Corp is very much around a business as a force for good. And the idea is profit isn't a dirty word. Businesses need to make profit. And actually, let's be honest, for businesses to be sustainable for the future, they need the money within the business to grow and invest in whether it's new ideas, whether it's in their team, whether it's increasing wages. They need the money coming through the business. But that shouldn't be at all costs and it's our belief. So it shouldn't be profit at any cost, which has been traditionally the business mentality, or seen as the business mentality. Let's just sell big, sell cheap, make as much money as possible, but forgetting the fact that everything has a cost. So environmentally, it has a cost. Socially, it has a cost. And I think we're seeing that now. Now, there's a point through COVID where I think it was Christmas time, and I think it was, we've been lucky enough. We supply into online food, so we've been lucky enough to see some growth within the COVID time. And something we experienced within that was sat there. Brexit was on the horizon. COVID was there. There was a cardboard shortage. There was a haulage shortage, which we're now seeing. That's been going on for about 9 months. It's now in the paper. And then the other thing, then, the sustainability issues. So I think you can sit there and you put your head in your hands and you go, what are we going to do? Because it seems like you've hit a wall. What actually is positive is we've seen a massive shift in the mentality of the customers buying from us. And what we have seen is 2 or 3 years ago, actually, how long ago was the David Attenborough We Planet episode? 4 years ago, I think it is now. I lost 2020, I have to be honest. But the David Attenborough Blue Planet episode changed the face of people's perception on sustainability. We saw it 6 months before. We were having people calling up about our product, asking, what's it cost? Does it work? And the sustainability wasn't really asked about. We're now having people calling up asking, is it sustainable? How's it sustainable? What's the carbon footprint? And these are very real conversations with companies who probably previously you wouldn't expect to care. We're doing a great project with a big supermarket who first and foremost asked us about the sustainability question. Now, whether they care because it's sustainable or whether they care because they see the investment in sustainability coming through doesn't really matter. At least the focus is now on creating something that has a bit more of a sustainable future. So now is the opportunity. I put a mute button in there because you guys can't mute me, so this is great. Well, you guys can actually on Zoom. So, no business is perfect. So that's the first thing to say. We're not perfect. We do things that I wish we did better. And I don't think this is about being righteous. This isn't about preaching. This is just saying that actually it's small steps and simple things. So it isn't doing a big thing as a massive business and promoting it. It's every small business in Staffordshire doing something a little bit different. And it might even save you some money. Because actually changing how you set up, say for example, I'm sure you've seen this on your projects, companies that are energy saving save money on energy. It's mutually beneficial. Companies that opt for sustainable solutions who are consumer facing see really high levels of customer retention. There's a future proofing argument there too. So companies that are doing things that are thinking about the future, when the future hits in 5 years' time, and you need to already be using 100% renewable energy, or you need to be looking at what materials we're using, or how much, or what cars you're driving, or all these other things that could come up. It's about looking to the future. So there is a thing around not sustainability as a business being sustainable in a green and fluffy kind of hippie sense. This is sustainable as a business in a true sustainable business legacy sense. So it isn't just actually about green and social sustainability. This is about business sustainability. Attract talent. There is proof that, and I'm sorry I haven't cited it here, but you can Google it because there's loads of it, around attracting talent, and particularly the generations coming through. Millennials, and I can't remember the name of Generation Z, thank you. The ones coming through actually are looking to for businesses who are doing something a bit different. And again, this isn't necessarily big headlines. This is small things. What are you offering your team in terms of support socially? Because what you do socially with your team will have an impact environmentally. To me, environmental and social responsibility are both around sustainability. You look after your team, they look after the environment, they've got a bit more money in their pocket, they can spend money on maybe something that's a little bit more sustainable. Sustainability, unfortunately, can be a bit more expensive, which sometimes will then alienate those individuals that perhaps haven't got that money in their pocket. So we have to be conscious that this can't just be, say a middle class vendetta. This has to be something that involves everyone, and that's where business responsibility comes in for that too. So attract talent. What's your unique selling point? Now, what's really interesting is we're quite lucky in our sector. Companies within our sector are looking for sustainable solutions because of the nature of the sector. It's consumer facing. It's a relatively high value, although we do have some lower value products. And we have a selling point that which people want to buy. Now, actually, looking to the future is this within your sector, is there a way that you can be unique in something you sell, slightly more sustainable than your competitors? So is there something within your portfolio? So my partner used to work in garage doors. When we were talking about their business, I was saying, well, do you do anything around sustainability? Now, loads of companies make garage doors. Is there something around their particular company they can do a bit differently than other companies that gives them a unique selling point? So there's a business opportunity there. So this isn't just about green credentials. This is about thinking about the future, business continuity and business opportunities. And it's an opportunity for Staffordshire. I have a massive vision, maybe not massive vision, but I have a view that wouldn't it be great if Staffordshire could be the most sustainable county, and genuinely that. And I don't know any county that has put their hat on and said, we're going to be the most sustainable county, and these are the ways we're going to do it. Now, there might be, so I'm not saying, because I've not heard of it, it doesn't exist, but actually, could Staffordshire, and that involves business, that involves charity, and that the third sector, and that involves the council. So is there a way together, we have a big reach, we have loads of people within all of our communities that we can reach and make an opportunity for the county to be sustainable Staffordshire, just the way that we're seen as the creative county. So why Staffordshire? So why are we based in Staffordshire? How long have I got left? I'm done now. A minute and a half. Okay, that's 30 seconds now, isn't it? Okay, so why Staffordshire? It's my home, so that's one reason. I lived in Birmingham for a while, and I love Birmingham. Sorry, Birmingham. But I also love Staffordshire because it's a central location. Not only do we have urban centres, we also have green centres. It's an opportunity to go to, I can stay in Staffordshire, I can go to Amerton Farm, I can go to Glaston Pottery Museum, I can go to Love Clay, I can go all sorts, actually I'm on Saturday, so I can go to all sorts of places to go and have a great time in Staffordshire. But I also can get to London in an hour and a half, I can get to Birmingham, I can get to Manchester. Great location, not just to play, but also for when people come and visit us. So when our customers come and visit us, or our suppliers come and visit us, nowhere's longer than about 3 hours away. Depends how fast you drive, actually. So some places are 4 hours, if not 2. So deep heritage and creativity. You know, I think within throughout the country, there is a respect for Staffordshire as a creative county. And I've seen that where people go, oh yeah, I got this pottery from Wedgwood. And I know it isn't just about pottery in Staffordshire. We produce wool, but it is that deep heritage that we can harness and really attract businesses to the area and investment. Great support, I have to say, the council, the chamber, the LEP, all those kind of communities that we have that are great support, and really all my experience, and I don't know everyone else's, but all of my experience of reaching out to those communities that are there to support has been really positive. And I think that's a really great also positive towards the mentality of people of this area. I think are very helpful, caring. I think I might have said to when we were feeding back on Staffordshire branding, Staffordshire people are the best because they're so caring. And the guy said, oh, that's what everyone says about their area. And he actually ended up saying, no, you're right. That is what I found in our research. So that's really great. You're on that course, so you know that. Skilled people. We have a really great skill set. Low skilled workers don't exist. People use that term. Low skilled workers aren't a thing. It's people who haven't yet found their calling. Sounds cheesy, but it's true. We have a great breadth of experience and willing workforce, and we've seen that within our team, and loads of amazing businesses. And the more I kind of meet people, mainly on Zoom recently, so you see the in-depth businesses and you see what they do in the area, and it's awesome. And local partners, I think, you know, that interaction where we do work with partners in Staffordshire, we have some really great partnerships with again, design agencies, and we have partnerships with our haulage companies, and we have some really strong ties and some really, again, forward-thinking businesses. So what opportunity does this bring us to? In my belief, all of those reasons are why trying to promote Staffordshire as this sustainable, and companies focusing on some of their sustainable credentials is actually a way to bring further investment to the area, because the switch from an investment in an area is now going from just around what business is doing to focusing on the environment and sustainable credentials of an area too. So there's an opportunity to bring investment to the area, to bring jobs to the area, and also to create some, or to invest actually in the current businesses in this area, and a real opportunity. I love Staffordshire, and I don't see why not others. I don't see why others wouldn't. So yeah, just a little bit of an overview to my thoughts, and I hope you enjoyed that. So thank you for listening.
Thank you, Josie. How can you fail to be inspired by that story? Final speaker today is Chris Langley. Chris is from Engie, and he's going to tell you some of the story around some of the things at Keele, but mainly I think around what's happening at Rugeley. So, Chris.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Hello, good afternoon. Like the other speakers, this is the first time that I've done this in a live audience for quite a while, so it's fantastic. Very exciting and slightly nerve-wracking, which is bizarre. What I'm going to talk to is the project Smart Local Energy System, and actually where some of that matchmaking came from these people. As of the 1st of July, it's 100,000 strong. It's a global business, very much focused around leading the zero. How we work in partnership, how we, again, empowering the transition through the change that we need to see happen to get, I think, into a climate positive situation. My role within the business is I lead the team that conceived and are delivering the Rugeley Power Station redevelopment. Likewise with the Zero Carbon Rugeley project, which is a real consortium activity. And I was also part of the deal team when we come on to the Keele Low Carbon Energy Generation project that helped close that out. So the first piece I'm going to talk about here is just really about some of the underlying thinking. So the first image there is the Rugeley Power Station engagement that we did back in 2018. It was a sort of, the power station was closing. This was in the context of those sort of haunted communities which had been challenged by the loss of the mining industries. And we were really trying to work out what can this big site bring back and reconnect and help revitalise the place. The other one, which you'll see hopefully later on this afternoon, is going to be that way up, is the base of the wind turbine. And you kind of think, well, what are the two things that kind of connect these themes? And from our motivation, they really are fundamentally linked, and I hope to show that. And the genesis of the ideas were born quite independently of each other, but when Staffordshire County Council actually introduced us, we realised that we were fellow travellers. So just a recap on what we're doing at Rugeley Power Station. The site is a very large site, 139 hectares. It was decommissioned in 2016, and originally it was slated for a disposal into the market. And we kind of felt that there had to be more of a dialogue with the town, with the heritage, with what it could do, with the ownership of the country park, for example. How do we reconnect the place? So all of our work was what happens outside of the red line. Who is benefiting? What do people want? What are the new communities? What are the new needs? Just as well as some of the historic aspects. And those are the headlines, the things that came out of that exercise. And then at the heart of it, we started coming up with a concept. Now, this isn't a very seen image because this was an internal sketch that I did back in 2017 to try and kind of talk about it. And we were putting hydrogen electrolysis at the centre of it. We made a decision in 2017, taking Julie's point around profit, but not at any cost. We decided in 2017 that we weren't going to connect the site to gas. Now, at that time, that wasn't a very sensible thing to do from a property perspective, because gas is cheaper, the connections are cheaper. But we were really, really keen. as an energy sort of Luddite at the time, I even wanted to get the River Trent into a hydro scheme, which for anyone who knows about flow rates and hydro in the River Trent, you'll realise is a bit of a bonkers idea in the first place. But really it was about reimagining and using the assets, focusing very much on biodiversity as well, really seeing how we work within the boundaries of what the site had to offer, but very much the resources of the planet. How do we create that circular economy? That has then transformed in the last couple of years into a planning permission, a process that has involved Cannock Chase District Council, Lichfield District Council, Staffordshire County Council, two LEPs because we're in a crossover zone. At the time, lots of different political persuasions, lots of different ideas, but actually we ended up with a unanimous result. All the committees we've been to, and I think that's a testament to sort of coming strength of a common vision. As you can see, it's a predominantly residential scheme. We've got workspace in there where we're really talking again with the county about how do we kind of create workspaces, how do we meet local demand rather than build large sheds. And you'll see in the south of the picture sort of previous development which has produced just that. And does a large shed necessarily work in the context of a town economy? And that's a debatable point. I'll come back to the all-through school because for me this is one of the most visionary aspects. I think it's a first in Staffordshire. In fact, I know it's a first in Staffordshire. It's a first for many parts of the country, and it talks about the story of education through to employment and actually what the vision of a place is. I'm jumping to Keele now because I think this is obviously somebody will be seeing this later. But this is the project, the low carbon energy generation in of its own right is unique. This aspect of it is also unique because it's one of the only occasions you'll find the combination of technologies within solar, wind and battery. It was funded by Engie, the Capital Works here. So from a point of view of it being a market orientated solution, it was really proving some of those business case points that were being made earlier. And there's been a discussion about how it's going to generate, and it's just amazing to hear how much it's generating in terms of right now, in terms of the on-site demand for energy. And I can see Ash is fact checking my slide, so hopefully that's okay. So I mean, but I suppose part of the vision of what all of this was about was if it's acceptable terms used as energy autarky. It was about creating a system, a microgrid, something within the campus that's self-sufficient. You can't do that so easily out there in towns with different billing requirements, different statutory requirements, and how the energy system works. But I can't describe how visionary we thought this was when we first found out about it and had the opportunity to become, to bid the opportunity to become Keele's partner. So we then, at the same time we were doing that, and as I said, I was part of the team back at Engie that was making that work from an Engie perspective. We started to think about how do we roll this into a total place, into a town. And this is Rugeley, and this is the Smart Local Energy System project. So the Rugeley project is one of 10 in the UK. It is probably, and I would say this, wouldn't I? But we are the feedback I'm getting, because the feedback I'm getting about the behaviour of my team working in collaboration with Keele is it's one of the most progressed, what is the most progressed, most investable project, most ambitious project of this kind of cohort in the UK. And we've recently established what we call an investor panel with some other partners in doing other SLES projects to really build that business investment case into these projects. And what this is about, really fundamentally, really simply, because it needs to be that for me, is about taking what Keele have done and putting this into a town, into an existing place. It's working out the things that have to happen, the kind of engagement that you need with residents, with people just going about everyday life. How do you get people sharing energy like they would share bags of sugar with each other? What are the platforms you need? What are the technologies to generate locally? What are the obstacles, and how do you overcome them? And if you can't overcome them, how do you work around them? Because it's a practical design-led project that has got to be delivered. Now, the massive benefit we have at Rugeley is we've got a great big focal point of a coal-fired power station that's gone from coal-fired to sustainable living, and that provides a bit of a flag that we can all kind of rally around and go, yeah, great, isn't that exciting? And kind of encourage momentum within the community itself. And I have to say, the work done by Zoe Robinson and Adam Peacock from
Keele has been absolutely amazing in how to activate communities and work with them, so we can find all this zero carbon conversation and translate it into ordinary language. I'd also wouldn't call it zero carbon Rugeley next time round, because the entire economy of Rugeley was based on carbon. Carbon isn't the enemy. It's something that they often say to us. It's the effects of too much carbon in the atmosphere that's the problem that we need to address. And it's really interesting talking to people who are hugely committed to the principles of low resource usage, who are Rugeley was one of the most efficient power stations in the country for many years, for many decades. It has pride in, we have San Martins nesting on the site that have been there for 30, 40 years. I was at the Model Railway Society 50th birthday last weekend. They know how to look after stuff. So it's about how we have taken some of those concepts into a live demonstrator. Just putting it into very quickly context, this is where we are on the site at the moment. So we're working with Staffordshire Wildlife Trust. Again, that's part of transforming the Trent Valley, where we're restoring wetlands and recreating the sort of flood mitigation to the national environment and increasing biodiversity species from what used to be the golf course for the employees. We've demolished the cooling towers, and we've managed to save the pump house, which is the image there, which is right next to the cooling towers. Fortunately, it didn't get damaged in the explosions, and we are absolutely busting at the seams to try and get this into like a workspace, community space, a sort of innovation hub. And we would love to sort of work on novel ideas, because we think it's an amazing building, and we mustn't lose the heritage. We mustn't lose links with the past. Real jewel in the crown, this is the Rugeley John Taylor All-Through School, so that's nursery, primary, secondary, sixth form. We want to create all sorts of links, both in terms of curriculums with the universities, different signposts and different forms of education and employment. We think the ethos of the site and the ethos of the school and where we have to get to is so closely aligned that it becomes, every day is an education for everybody that kind of attends the site. So we think having that vision and that narrative around sustainability at the heart of the place, and this school is going to be the first building that gets delivered on the site. It's the most important piece. It's the piece that I'm personally proudest that we've managed to achieve, because I think this can be a real game changer, because it's about opportunity, it's about aspiration, it's about hope, it's about the future. So what's next? So where we are in the process for the Zero Carbon Rugeley project is we are entering the final design cycle. So this is where we're really getting sort of into the detail about how this works, and that's due to conclude in Q1 of next year. We've established an investor panel, and I'll be talking to a whole range of local authorities, as well as the investors that are coming on board. How do we create deliverable, investable projects? How do we curate them through into delivery? And it's a whole set of actors, a whole range of agency. We're on with cleaning the site up and establishing development platforms. This isn't a small undertaking. This is 139 hectares of earthworks in effect, and we started that at the beginning of the year. And that will conclude next year. We are engaging again with the local supply chains. We've got a Meet the Buyer event next week in Rugeley. As you will have heard and as you'll see, Keele Engie Park is live. And when you put all of that together, from where I sit and what I've been doing over the last few years, Staffordshire quite simply is leading the way.